What's going on, guys? This is your boy Astrum Sensei and welcome back to another one of my Unreal Engine 4 for Complete Beginners tutorial series. In today's video we are going to be continuing learning the blueprints, and we are going to start learning the character blueprints and how to create a basic character controller, which is basically a character that you can control. And yeah, we are going to get started. So in the previous video we took a look at the level blueprint and we created a spotlight that you can turn on and off based on the light switch over here. So in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the character blueprints and how to create a basic character controller for your game. So whether you've chosen the third person template or whatever template, you'll have a different character over here in the BP folder. If you open that character, you should be able to see a lot of stuff that you may not be able to understand. So today we are going to be learning the basics of the character blueprint and how to set up one similar to the ones that are in the presets or templates. So we are going to be using this one as a reference and we are going to be creating our own character blueprint. So I'm going to dock the third person character over here, and over here I'm going to right click and create a new blueprint class, and we've taken a look at these before. So today we are going to be choosing the character blueprint, so we are going to call it, now this one that we have there is the third person character. I'm going to call mine the first person character. But yeah, I'm still gonna show you how to make a third person character with animations and all of that. And it's very simple to turn a first person character to a third person. So yeah, I'm gonna open it, and as you can see we have already a few things over here in the components. They are automatically made because we've chosen the character blueprint instead of other things. So the first component we have over here is the first person, or whatever you've called your character. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and rename it because first person is a little bit unclear. So I'm just gonna call it my character. Yeah, that's a bit better. So yeah, we have my character self. Now over here you should be able to see a lot of options. For example, jump max count. If you change that to 2, the character will be able to jump more than one. You have jump max hold time, which, if you keep holding the jump button, it should be able to keep jumping unless you've let go of the jump button. And yeah, we have a lot of changeable things here, and whatever variables you do here. For example, if you add a flashlight and you want the character, if you want to ask the game whether the player has picked up the flashlight or has it in their inventory, you can just create a variable which is editable, and that way any editable variables will be put here in the self section, and you can edit them from here very simply. Or if you place it here, no, it's not here either. Yeah, also the editable variables will be here, but not everything in the self component. So I'm gonna go back to the character, and next we have the capsule component. Now this capsule component is the basically the collision of your character. So whatever tries to collide with this capsule component will not be able to collide. So basically anything with collision will not go through this capsule component. And if you have like a character and animations in there, nothing will be able to get through and touch the animations. So you want to make sure that your character is inside the capsule component. To me the capsule component is the actual character and not the mesh or anything. So we have quite a few options here. You can change the height of the capsule component by changing the capsule half height. If you make it like 20, you can see that it's now a circle, but I'm going to revert it to normal. And you also have this capsule radius, which is the size in width or whatever. And if you change that to like 10 or something, it will get much thinner, as you can see. And we have other things like dynamic obstacle, fill collision, visible, or hidden in game. If it's not hidden in game, you should be able to see it in your game. So for example, if you place the character here and press play, you'll be able to see the capsule component. which is like good for testing. I use it when doing a crouch system to check if the capsule is touching whatever's above the character. So yeah, we are gonna put that back to normal, so hidden in game will be true. We also have other things that are not very important at the moment, and we are not going to take a look at them. But yeah, you can disable gravity and all of that stuff. Next, we have the arrow component, which is basically what side is the front of your character. So whenever you insert a mesh to this character, it might be like a little bit off, so you want to adjust it and rotate it so that the arrow component is the front of the character. So basically this is the front direction of the character. Next we have mesh, and this is where you put your skeletal mesh if you have a character model and animations. And for example, we are going to be using the Unreal Engine mannequin. So from here we can go here and add in SK mannequin, and you should be able to see it. And then you want to choose the animation class. Actually, before we choose an animation class, let's rotate it and make sure it's in the right position by using the transform tool. So I'm gonna put it down. I know it's gonna be a little bit weird. So yeah, if I go 0 0 0, it won't be good. So yeah, you have to make sure it's facing the arrow component, and even the size. I think the size is good though. Yeah, like this. And if we take a look here, you should be able to see that your character now has a mesh, but the feet are going into the ground, so it needs to be raised up a little bit. You know, a mistake I made is turning off snapping, and I shouldn't have done that. And yeah, as you can see, the character is now there, standing without any animations. So we are going to be adding animations very quickly by going to the mesh again and choosing an anim class, which is third person anim BP, which is the default one that comes with Unreal Engine. Now I've already made a video on importing your own character and animations and creating an animation blueprint, which is the animation class here. And yeah, that's a little bit more advanced, but yeah, even that videos, I think it's a little bit outdated. Like, I made it almost a year ago and I want to make another one. So yeah, I'm gonna make one soon, but for now we're gonna be using the default animation blueprint because, you know, it's very impossible to make it in the same video as the character blueprint. And you know, when we start making a small game, we are gonna make a game in this series, by the way. If you haven't seen the introduction, make sure to look at it. But yeah, once we start making a game, we are going to be doing all of that in the simplest way possible, like in the most basic way possible, so that, you know, it's for beginners. But yeah, we have a lot of options here: disable cloth simulation, collide with environment, you know, a lot of stuff. So I think collide with environment, like even if it isn't in the capsule component, if you turn this one on, it should be able to collide. So right now it's outside the capsule component, but if you go in front of it and try to collide with it, yeah, it doesn't go inside. Actually it does. Yeah, it collides with the camera anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna make sure to put it back, yeah, like this. And yeah, we have other options like enable gravity and all of that stuff. We have cast shadow, visible, hidden in game. You know, all of this stuff, you're gonna explore them very slowly by the time, like with the time, and you know, you'll learn them, I'm sure. Next we have the character movement component, and this one comes with any character, or you know, you can't have a character without it. For example, we can have a character without a mesh, but we cannot have a character without a character movement. And you know, over here is a lot of important options. For example, the gravity scale. Actually, we are going to take a look at it in the character that we are using, which is the third person character. Yeah, for example, gravity scale, if you put it to 10 instead of 1 and you press play, it's going to be much heavier, the character. So when it drops, it just drops very like it can't even jump. So yeah, we're going to put back that to 1. We have max acceleration, which is how fast, you know, the character starts walking. So if you put it to, I don't know, 1000 instead of 2000, and you press play, you know, it's very, it takes more time to get to full speed with the character now, you know, kind of like a car. And you know, you have braking friction, crouched half height, which is the crouch height, mass, which is the also a weight, default land movement mode, default water mode, step height, which is how high your character can, you know, go up through larger collisions. For example, we have the bed here in our game, and if we try to climb on it, we cannot. But if we change the step height and try it again, so press play and try it again, oh, actually 200, I think that's not enough. You also have walkable floor angle, ground friction, which is how icy your ground is, max walk speed crouch, you know, a lot of stuff like this. Jump velocity, which is how high you can jump, air control, a lot of stuff like this. And yeah, these are the components of a character blueprint. Now I don't want to add in a character like a mesh and animation, so I'm just gonna disable it and put it back to normal. Or, you know, we can just delete the entire mesh, but I'm gonna keep it in case we need the option. Oh wait, this isn't the one we want to use, so I made the mistake. I'm gonna put them back. Yeah, like this. And compile. Now this is the character that we created, and yeah, we don't want the mesh, so I'm just gonna remove it and put the animation class to normal. And we are going to take a look at the event graph, which we've learned in the level blueprint, but not really in the character blueprint. So yeah, we are going to take a look on how to create movement, because the way it is at the moment, if you play as this character, you cannot walk, you cannot do anything. And yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So to make this character playable in this level, we are going to go to settings and turn on the world settings, which will put it over here. And the world settings is basically the world settings. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, for game mode, we're gonna go with game mode. Actually, no, game mode base, no. Third person game mode, yeah, that's the one we want to use. And the default one class, we are gonna go with my character, which is the character we've just created. And yeah, I'm sorry I didn't explain this. We will take a look at it later. Right now is not the time. So we are gonna hit play, and we are now in control of the character, but we can't see through its eyes, and we can't do anything because you know, we haven't added a camera, we haven't added anything. So if you take a look here, you have the camera boom and the follow camera. We are gonna add them quickly before, you know, doing the event graph stuff. So simply go with the mesh component selected, add component, and you should add a spring arm, which is what they call the camera boom. So we are going to call it camera boom. And what this one is basically, it's a boom which your camera stands on. I'm sorry, this isn't making much sense, but yeah, it can give you a lot of options for the camera, and it's also responsible for the camera collision. So for example, you can do the target arm length, you can do an offset and all of that stuff. You can do camera lag, which is a very nice effect. So we are going to add another component, which is called the camera component. So just type in camera with the camera boom selected, and there you go. You should have a camera created at the end of the camera boom, and now you should be able to see through the character's eyes or something. Actually, you know what, yeah, I'm not gonna do this, or yeah, let's just do the target arm length 10, and we are gonna do the character like we are gonna make them a first-person character. So make the camera boom 10, and we should be able to have a first-person camera. And yeah, now all we need to play our game is the movement for the character. So we are gonna go to the event graph and copy a few things from here. So we have the movement input, which is the way you can move left and right. And to start setting that up, you are going to go to the project settings. If you're starting with a blank project, you won't really have any inputs set up already, so we are going to take a look very quickly at how to set it up. You go through the engine settings to the input section, and you go to the axis mappings. You also have this action mappings part, which is for jumping and reset VR, and you have the axis mappings for move forward, move right, turn, lookup rate, and lookup. We have the move forward with the scale of 1 and -1. You know, -1 is for move backwards, so you put the S button in there instead of the W. And you know, the scale things. And you know, the scale thing is very useful for your controller, because if you want to move your thumbstick very slowly and have the character walk slower, it will be moving within 0 to 1, but not really 1, or 0 to -1. So yeah, I really recommend having those values. We also have them for the move right. So A is minus, which is move left, and D is 1 for move right. And you know, we have these console inputs set up already so that the game is compatible with the consoles, or you know, the controllers. We also have the turn rate, and the lookup, which is for, I think, the sides. I'm not sure. Yeah, basically it's the same thing, but for the turning, which is this one, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, we're gonna take a look at it in the blueprint, no problem. But yeah, if you go back to your character blueprint, you can see that you have this get control rotation. Okay, we are gonna copy this, but not really copy. We are gonna make it ourselves. So we want to add something for the move forward input. So we want to type move forward, and you should see here axis events move forward. And if you drag out of it and add movement input, and you know, this one tells you do this if the character or the player presses move forward, and this one is like move the character. So now we wanna, this scale value pin is how much the player is pushing the thumbstick. So we are gonna connect it to this move forward, which is like the same one we made in the input. Next, we wanna get the world direction, which is where the character is moving, or you know, how forward you want to move them. But first we are going to do the same thing for the move right. So you want to type in move right, and you should see axis events move rights, the same thing. And you want to add in another one of those, movement input. So just type in movement input, and you should see the add movement input. Then connect the scale value to the axis value, and you should have both looking the same almost, but we really need the world direction, so we are going to get that now. We are going to type in get control rotation, and then we want to break the rotator, and yeah, I'm going to explain that in a moment. So get control rotation, which is like the character's rotation or the controller's rotation, and we want to break that into 3. Then we are going to make a rotator, but we don't want to connect it to the X, we are going to connect it to the Z. And then you want to get forward vector and connect it to the world direction. So this one gets the value or vector or velocity even, I'm not sure, for the players or the characters forward movement. And we want to do another one for the right vector. So just type in get right vector and connect it to the world direction of the move right axis. And if you compile and press play, you should be able to move forward, but the camera is aiming at something different, so I'm not sure. So before taking a look at what went wrong, we are going to be creating the rotation first. So to do it, it's very simple. You just type in input, turn, and you should be able to get a node similar to those. So what happens when the player turns, we are going to add controller yaw input, and the value will be the axis value. Then we want to do another one, which is input look up, and we want to add a different one, which is add controller pitch input, and the same thing connected to the input, or the axis value. And I think we should be able to turn now. Let's take a look. Yeah, we can turn, but we cannot look up and down. And that is because we don't really have this one enabled. So we are going to go to the camera boom and make sure to make the uspawn control rotation to true. So if you compile and press play, you should be able to look around and walk around like a normal first-person game. And yeah, now we have a playable character, but there still is something we can do, and that is adding sprinting and crouching. So we are going to do that now, but before we do that, we are going to organize this part. So to make it the same as the preset or the template, we are going to do add comments. So I'm going to select all of the movement blueprints and press C on them, and that should add a comment. I'm gonna type in a movement input, and this one, what is it called here? It's called mouse input. So we are gonna name this mouse input, and next we are gonna add jumping. So to add jumping, it's very basic. We need to go back to our project settings, to the inputs part, and add an input for jumping. So over here, you add an action mapping by pressing plus, you name it jump, and you choose your space button. But in my project, it's already set up because, it's already there because I've chosen the third person template. So I'm gonna go back to the event graph, and I'm gonna type in what happens if I press the jump. So under input, choose jump, and you should have two options here, pressed and released. And for pressed, we are going to be adding just type in jump, and there should be a function. It's ready, it's there, and you can just use it. It's very easy. In other engines it's not like that, but here it's very simple. And when you release, you just stop jumping. So type in jump again, and stop jumping should be there. And if you compile and press play, you should now be able to jump, and yay, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, we are gonna add something else, which is the double jump. So if you go to my character here, you can just change the max jump count to 3, and now you have triple jump. So if you press play, you can now jump 3 times. Very simple. And you also have this jump max hold time, so I'm gonna make it 1 second. And if I compile and press play and hold the jump button, I should be able to jump for longer, and when the second is over, we fall down. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And next we are going to be adding crouching. So it's also very basic, but it's not there in the input. So I'm going to go to project settings and add in an input for it. So I'm going to go to the input area, and I'm gonna collapse everything and go to the action mappings and press the plus button, and we created a new input. I'm gonna call it crouch and choose left control. So type in left control or left control, yeah, like this. And if you go to your character now, you should be able to type in crouch, which is the input we created, and there you go. Now we have crouch. If we press it, we want to crouch. No, not uncrouch. Make sure to do that. Crouch. Yeah, this one. And if we press it again, we want to uncrouch. And there are many ways to do that, but for the, the most basic way, we are going to be adding a flip-flop, which is like if it's not A, then B, and if it's B, then A. So if we are crouch, we are going to uncrouch. You can, do the branch thing, add in a branch and do the same thing, but this one is much simpler and much more basic, so we are gonna be doing this. So we are just gonna type in uncrouch now, and it should be there. But I think if we try it now, it's not gonna work. So if you press the control button, we cannot crouch. And why is that happening? I'm sure there is a reason. If you go to my character and type in crouch in the search, no, not this one. Yeah, here. You want to make sure that can crouch is enabled. So enable it. And we also want to change the crouched half height to be able to notice it. I'm going to make it 20. And speed when crouched, I'm going to make it 100. And we also go to the character and change the crouched eye height to 20 also. And if we compile and press play and press the crouch button, hey, we've crouched, but the camera hasn't. I'm not sure why that is. So, yeah, I'm gonna type in crouch also. No, there isn't an option here. So for the camera to crouch, I think we need to add a camera lag. No, I'm sure it's not related. Yeah, I'm just gonna lower the camera a little bit and add a camera lag, which is like the speed of 10, and we're gonna try it again. Now we have crouched, but the camera hasn't, and I'm not sure why. The weird thing is that it's supposed to work and it doesn't. So if you try it in the normal character, you type in crouch and uncrouch, or you know what, let's just copy the code. Yeah, we are gonna copy the code. And we are gonna enable can crouch. And if we press play, oh, this isn't the character we're using, so we are gonna put back the other character. So we go here and choose the third person character, and if we press play, I think we should be able to crouch. Yeah, the camera crouches too, so I'm not sure what the issue is there. Yeah, actually, let's take a look. Okay, so it's not supposed to be like this. I think this is a glitch, but to fix it really quick, we are gonna go to the event graph, and I'm gonna close this one up. It works with the other character if you use the template character and build on it. Yeah, it should be there, but in case it isn't, what you do to make the camera crouch is you after the crouch, you set relative location camera, or you know what, let's go with the camera boom. And we are gonna choose a new location. I'm gonna make a new variable out of this vector. I'm gonna call it camera height, and yeah, this is gonna be how high your camera is, so you'll be able to control the height yourself. And we are also gonna copy this for the uncrouch to put the camera back to normal. So just connect this to this, and the new location will be whatever your camera height is. I think the normal is 64, So we want to make sure that it's 64. If you type in camera height, you should see base camera height. It was 64 before, so I'm going to put it back to normal. And the crouched camera eye height, you know, this one is the one that's not working, so I'm not sure why. And yeah, to add in your own value, instead of 64, we are going to be adding 20 for the z-axis. And if you compile and hit play, I think it should work. Yeah, as you can see, it works. But when you put it back to normal, it's very low. So instead of instead of 64, I'm gonna go with 80. Or you know what, let's just go with 100. And if you try it again, you should be able to crouch and uncrouch. And yeah, I think that's about it for the introduction to the character blueprints. You know, everything that your player will be able to do with the character will be based here around this blueprint. So it really has to be like very neat and clean. So I'm going to comment on this. I'm going to call this crouch. And again, this part shouldn't be here. It should be ready with the engine. So I really recommend using one of these, like the blueprints that come with your project, and you know, building on them and deleting the stuff you don't need, because you know, the crouching works, like the camera eye height works, and everything just works out of the box, so you don't need to do this part. And for the jump, I'm gonna comment and call it jump. And yeah, we basically made a basic first-person character controller, and you've learned a few things in your character blueprint. And you know, for this you can add like jumping, shooting, everything will be here, and even like the combat, if you have like melee combat like we did in the RPG series. Yeah, everything's just here. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed and learned something new. If you're new to Unreal Engine and you want to check out more tutorials, make sure that you check out my channel to help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers. Make sure to subscribe and like the video if you want to see more of them. And super special thanks to my precious patrons who are supporting this series. And yeah guys, I'll see you on the next video. Take care and bye.